people of Canberra, the Ngunnawal and Ngabri people, who have been custodians of this land from the past to the present and also to the future. We acknowledge the presence here of His Royal Highness, Crown Prince Tupoto'a Ulukalala and his house. The political leaders of this nation, representatives of Pacific Islander communities here in Australia, our Tongan communities here and worldwide. Today, the 15th of December 2021, from Canberra, the Australian National Capital, we welcome you to the Lo'au University Multimedia Program, Women in Dialogue. I am Luciana Lafitani, and with me is the coordinator of this program, Luisa Maile Latukefu. For this morning, Luisa has decided on a topic for discussion, and she will bring that to us soon. I think it's about the festive season that Luisa is wanting us to chat about this morning. Anyway, in the very near future, we will live stream this very same program in our own Tongan language. So, without further ado, I will hand the reins over to Luisa Maile Latukefu. Good morning, Luisa.
Good morning, Luciane. And it's such a beautiful day out here in Canberra.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
Absolutely.
And it just sort of brings it to light that we are only a few weeks away from Christmas and the festive season.
Just a couple, eh? Just a couple.
Just a couple of weeks. And following what you just sort of mentioned about the festive season, that's why we decided that we might just sort of talk about safety around drugs, alcohol and overindulgences in the festive and Christmas time.
Absolutely, absolutely, Luisa.
And when I say indulgences, Luciana, I mean overindulgence of food, of drinks, of alcohol, and even financially. You know, at this time, with the economy still up there, it is a very important factor around this time. Yeah. So
I think with all those things that you mentioned, Luisa, we can overindulge, you know, with me, I guess it's food, you know, too much cake and chocolate. And then we talk about, you know, I think we fail sometimes to remember our finances during this time. We're overexcited. We want to go shopping. We want to buy things for our family. And we forget the budget. And what do we find at the end of Christmas? The end of that?
And the beginning of the new year.
And the beginning of the
That's right. A little bit of stress.
Yes.
Financial stress. Yeah. So we're just going to talk about that. And because it's our last program for this year, Luciane, I thought, you know, we'll just sort of keep it light and keep it positive, because we've been through a lot in the last couple of years with all the lockdowns and all the restrictions and not seeing our loved ones, all those sort of things. And I thought it might be a good idea just to keep it light and cheerful and get ourselves all tuned up for the festive season.
Because even though this is these are serious issues that we're talking about, but we can also look at the positive side of this.
Yes.
You know, find the cloud, find the silver lining, not find the cloud. Find the silver lining on that cloud, because there always is a silver lining, isn't there?
And I decided, I was looking, we were going to cover about drugs and those sort of things, but then I thought, you know, with alcohol, and they're saying, all the literature sort of point to the fact that alcohol use can cause more harm than any other drugs in Australia, and you know, and we can save for globally as well.
Absolutely, Louisa. Our stats show more deaths with alcohol-related issues. More deaths, you know, in Australia, and I know that's the same with other Western countries. You know, with alcohol, you're right, with alcohol-related issues.
Yeah, both sort of short-term and long-term as well. Yeah, so alcohol use can lead to accident and injuries, and I guess specifically around this time of the year, and also increases the risk of chronic diseases like cancer, heart diseases, and stroke.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of stroke, especially with stress.
Yes.
Around
Liver.
this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And increases the likelihood of like frequency and severity of violence.
Oh
And
my
especially
goodness.
around this time, we've got enough, I think.
I know that very well, Louisa.
Yeah.
Being in one of the services that look after people and families, you know, around domestic violence. You know, this time around during the year, we were not allowed to take any leave. And you know why? Because violence, the incidence of violence just went skyrocketing. Because, as you said, alcohol.
A lot of domestic violence, and it's
Domestic
about the
violence.
immediate sort of effect of overindulging.
Alcohol, yes,
Because
yes.
if you know, like you're saying, if you just drink according, you know, to what you're supposed to drink, and I'll touch on that like a bit later on.
I think so, Louisa.
Yeah. No, you know, not overindulgence. Yeah. So we do. I thought I might just sort of mention, Luciane, of course, foremost important that in the Australian Capital Territory, in other words, Canberra, the government is committed to harm minimisation's approach to alcohol and other sort of drug use, in line with our national alcohol strategy, 2019-2028.
That's right.
Yeah, remember
That's
that how we're always
Absolutely.
being dictated to follow
Yes.
with policies and things like that.
And the government are always proactive,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, in pushing us in the services or the services to be more active, more proactive about, you know, talking to the community about this stuff. Louisa, and as you know, when you're working in your services, this was your busy time too.
That's right. And also, and we're so mindful about this, you know, following the strategies and stuff like that, Luciana. And living right next to the house in the hill,
Yes.
we're so aware of, you know, of all those sort of things that we have to follow. Yeah.
And the boys on the hill want us, or I should say, you know, the people on the hill, because there are women there too, are always pushing us as services to make sure that we do what is required of us, aren't we? You know, as soon as something goes wrong, we get a little phone call or little notice.
We live with a community who are so aware of their rights.
That's
right. And the legal aspects of our work. Yeah.
Yes,
and they do have a voice. Yeah,
sometimes the voices are quite loud. And rightly so. You know, we're not saying that you shouldn't, but rightly so, people should have a voice to say if things are not going right for them.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And just touching on that national alcohol strategy again, Luciane, 2019-2028. So this framework is to prevent and reduce alcohol-related harm. Yes. And it highlights the possible actions at the local, state or territory, because like, you know, how Canberra is always referred to as a territory.
Yes.
And on the national level as well. So it just outlines all the Australian agreed approach to prevent and reduce alcohol-related harm. It also highlights the priorities and opportunities for action, and also supports the government and non-government sectors to work together.
Yes.
You know how here, that is very important, isn't it, Lucian? As a community, we need to work together, like with all the other agencies out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the church one, Anglican, the Catholic one.
And it is a priority for government.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a priority for government that all services are working hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because if we're not working together cohesively, then the work doesn't get done. Because this issue, Louisa, as you have just highlighted now, is an ongoing issue, and government are always, it's always on the table. It's priority, because the deaths that happen from alcohol consumption or overconsumption is just the, you know, every year we're coming across this stuff, you know. So I guess if we are experiencing this problem. Therefore, services need to be on their toes all the time, especially around this time.
That's right. And although everybody's aware of the strategies and what they're supposed to do, you know, so minimization of harm related, you know, like alcohol related harms and stuff. But I think it is just important that we just remind everybody out there how important it is to keep to that. And also it aims to reduce the harmful alcohol drinks by 10%. And I think 10% surely it's not too much to ask for.
It's not too much to ask, but we haven't been able to achieve that.
Yes.
So I guess, again, the onus comes down to the services, to grassroots services to do a little bit. But I think, Louisa, it's like a mountainous task. It's a big ask because we know what it's like in society now. We know how okay it is to have a drink, you know, and how do you tell young people now or older people now, you're only supposed to have so much. I can't wait until you tell us how much we're supposed to have, Louisa.
I think it's very general. And remember, it's about, you know, harm minimization, not preventing everything, but it's about, which is good. And then we are in charge of ourselves and safety. So it's the risk of alcohol-related harm for adults, and to reduce the risk of harm from alcohol-related disease or injury. Healthy men and women should drink no more than 10 standard drinks a week.
So that works out. So are we looking at 7 days a week, and we only allow 10?
10.
So one drink, and maybe a couple of days we have 2 or 1.5 drinks or something.
But no more than 4 standard drinks on any one day.
4 standard drinks, okay.
But that's 24 hours, isn't it? Oh, most of the 24 hours, isn't it? One day, so 4 standard.
Yeah. But not that we're drinking when we're sleeping, hopefully. So I guess we're talking about waking hours, which is like what, 12 hours or 14 hours? So we're talking about how many did you say? 4?
4, yeah.
Okay.
4 standard
it's
drinks
not too bad,
on any
Lisa.
one day. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Because it's not as if you're going to be
cope
having
with that.
Yeah, I think I can. And but then you have to make sure that you sort of you ration it out during the week, isn't it? And not sort of just leave it till the weekend and then you go
and then binge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
another big problem is the binge drinking.
Yeah. So one way or the other, it's a big responsibility, isn't it? Don't you think?
It absolutely is. It's just teaching us to be, you know, all these programs teaching us to be responsible, you know. Take on self-responsibility, because I can't come and say, Louisa, you're only allowed to have 4 today, no more. It's up to Louisa to decide, I think that's all I'm going to do today. But it's a hard ask.
Yes.
Sometimes, you know, when you're thinking about, at this time, it's office parties, end of year functions, you know. And not only that, but if there are weddings and birthdays and whatever, those are the times that we tend to,
all family gatherings and celebrations.
We're a bit happy, and then we forget the 4 standard drinks, and then we might have a few more. But I think if we just be mindful of what you're talking about, you know, and remember, okay, sometimes you can overindulge, but the next time that you don't.
As long as you're aware, I think.
Awareness is a big
It's like,
thing.
because they say the less you drink, the lower your risk of harm from
right.
alcohol is. So it's about that. At the end of the day, you know, it's what you put in, that's what you get out.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
how much you sort of drink.
If only I can remember that, Louisa.
Yeah.
Those wise words of yours, if only I can, maybe I can look in the mirror every morning and say, whatever you put in, hey, is what you are.
I think we've done well. Yeah, even these boys,
I think, you know,
these boys are more, probably
yes,
more aware of, you know, their standard drinks than us.
I think, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, gender-wise. We can all tend to be a little bit overindulgent in certain things.
especially
as
around
you
this
said,
time.
a reminding, you know, just a
Just
reminder.
a reminder, and to have that in mind. Yeah.
And to eat lots before you go
Well,
and have a
that's
drink.
it. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. And also, like, just reminding children and people under 18 years of age to reduce the risk of injury and other harm to health. Children and people under 18 of age just should not drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alcohol, I mean.
Alcohol. You know, Louisa, when you're saying that under 18 shouldn't drink, I remember friends of mine, an Italian family, and she said from when she grew up, she remembers her papa giving her a little, tiny little red wine at Christmas.
Stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a culture stuff. She never ever abused alcohol. No. She grew up and they knew and they had whatever. So I reckon it's about what you learn, your environment growing up. You know, was there alcohol abuse in your family or not? Or were you used to it? You know, as she said, we just grew up, most families grow up, you know, she's talking about Italian households.
Yes.
With a little, everyone has a little, half a glass of wine or something. And they learn that that's all they're supposed to have and it's enough. So I guess, you know, that what you were just saying, that it's illegal, that's our legal status,
yes.
That it's under 18. But I think it's still, the onus comes down to responsibility of adults around their children, of families, to make sure that you don't stick a beer under their nose.
Yeah. Don't sort of push it like, yeah.
Do you
and
remember
a lot of these things are like, we always sort of refer to all the researchers and, you know, and findings, especially the National Health and Medical Research Council in Australia. That, you know,
that is so true, Louisa. Yeah, you know that ad, they put on certain different ads, different alcohol abuse ads, different drug abuse ads. And I know one of the ads that interested me because being a parent in the 70s, that was the usual thing. And the ad was, you saw a child being called to go and grab a beer from the fridge, you know, and bring a beer. And on the way,
I think we remember some of that.
And I mean, that's how it was in the 70s, you know. Bring a beer out, you know, for dad and whatever. And sometimes, you know, you see the boys would have a bit of a mouthful when they're bringing the beer out for dad. But what they're saying is that not that everyone that does that ends up having an alcohol abuse problem, but it may lead later on to some sort of abuse problems.
Because some people can have a very high tolerance before it really comes out in their temper. Yes. But I think, I remember with our children, I think they went through that era of like barbecues, you know, the family.
Yes.
That was when
it was just normal.
All their uncles were still alive. Yes. And that was it. But not all the uncles drank.
That's right.
Like the eldest one, he didn't drink.
That's right.
But he still sat there and watched the others sort of enjoy their drink. And it's like seeing those kids run and get the, you know. But I think those kids were getting smart because they used to bring their esky outside with the ice in it, and then they didn't have to, you know.
And each one of us, you know, the truth be told, each one of us know of someone that has a problem with alcohol, you know. Each one of us knows, even though someone may, Auntie Betty might have a lot of alcohol, but she's not abusive.
No.
Uncle John might drink a lot of alcohol and be abusive. So it doesn't, you know, alcohol affects people in so many different ways.
It's
you
about
never
their level of
tolerance. Yes. And as you said, you know, some people can drink 2 glasses and be fine. I might drink 2 glasses and go to sleep.
But also they do say that you should be responsible for, especially like mixed drinks.
Yes.
Something that you should be responsible for, you know, filling up your glasses, so that you keep aware of, you know, you're reminded and how much you've had. But if you sit there and chat, then somebody else does that, then you lose track of how many, you know, how many glasses you sort of
maybe someone like me, Louisa, should take a pen and each time I have a glass, maybe put a mark. I've had 1 glass, tend to forget, so I don't forget, maybe.
And also sometimes we've seen people the classes
Yes.
before they're finished.
Before
So
they're
yeah,
empty.
they lose sort of track then.
Of course,
Just
that'll
because
be easy to lose
just
track.
because they have a little bit at the bottom of the bottle,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, they sort of do it. But also, like, it's to prevent harm from alcohol to the unborn child.
Yes.
And this is very important because we've worked with women
Alcohol fetus
most of
problem
our lives,
syndrome,
you see.
isn't it?
Yeah, and women who are pregnant or
Oh.
planning pregnancy should not drink alcohol.
Louisa, you would have seen a lot of that.
Yes,
Eh?
yeah. And we did have a special clinic
Yes.
for those people, and it's about the alcohol
Yes.
related things in all those kids.
Yeah.
That they're born with all those little after effects.
Yes, and we know that the fetal alcohol problem can affect
fetal syndrome.
Yes,
yeah.
can affect them from inside
from mutual
to, from mutual to even to growing up. They're saying now, Louisa, that they have mental health issues from when they're in vitro. So it's a serious, serious thing.
But those little babies, they are especially under very strict, sort of observations, like right from birth or right from utero. We do look after those. We're so lucky we've got the services here in the ACT or Canberra.
Yeah.
A lot of services looking after they look after those women right throughout. And like we do have the professor and the special clinic.
Yes.
We started going into that special clinic,
Yes.
and I think I still remember that because you sit there with the professor and looking after those parents.
Yeah.
And he was very understanding. I think he's still out there.
Yeah.
And and also like women who are breastfeeding.
Yes.
Like the babies are out then, but it's about that's changed a little bit.
Louisa, I was just going to ask you a question, whether that's still relevant, or whether it's still allowable or acceptable. I remember when I was, I think, when I was pregnant with my first child, and there were little things. And I remember my doctor saying, you can have a glass of red wine whilst you're breastfeeding. Is that still the case, or is it just?
But a standard. They're talking about the standard glass because those women, while they're in hospital before they go home, they're allowed to go out with their husband, go out for dinner.
So that's still acceptable to have that.
But
whilst you're breastfeeding,
after you breastfeed, and then it's about that certain time.
And then you can have your
little drink.
Not during.
Not during, and not before the feed. Yeah, but when you finish sort of breastfeeding, then you just, but only for that amount of time because, then your milk sort of starts to come in, and then of course, and then those kids usually.
So there's a little bit of a window.
Yeah, but it's a little bit hard now, Luciana, because do you know how they used to feed like 3 to 4 hourly or something like that? But now, of course, that's all gone. That's history.
Yes.
It's about they feed on demand. So you can't tell your baby not to demand that feed.
Wait until I have my wine.
That's right, yeah, about that. So, yeah, but then some women are pretty clever now. They would express. They'll express their milk and leave it there for the next feed. Yeah.
And I think
then they'll have their little drink.
Yes.
And then some of them are very switched on about some of them will express and get rid of it.
I've talked to a lot of young mums, and for them, drinking during or after pregnancy whilst breastfeeding is just a no-no. They actually just would refuse. These are some of the 30-year-olds that I've come across. I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing and impressive. But they have made that decision: no drinking, no alcohol at all until they finish breastfeeding. So that's a couple of years, up to 3 years.
That's right.
That's a pretty big commitment, by some young mums. But that's how it is.
And they're pretty in control because some of them, like, they know they're going to go out, like they're expressed before they go out, and then they'll have that milk ready for the kids. And it's still breast milk. It comes out of a bottle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
does it really matter? Because they used to say it might confuse the babies, like from the bottle and on the breast. But I mean, these kids, they're pretty switched on right from the
Yes,
they
and
pick
I
up.
think the mums know.
Yes.
You know, the mums absolutely know what, you know, what's okay and if baby's going to do that. My grandson refuses. The youngest in our little family, Fedor, refuses anything to do with a bottle, you know, because mum's there.
Yeah.
And I said to her, maybe I should wean him because he comes here and you're not around. It's just that he knows that, you know, at home you're around, so therefore why does he have to have a bottle?
Well, that's it. And some mothers breastfeed till those little kids are toddlers.
Yes.
Yeah. They
Yes.
run around and come and just sort of feel for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and you do hear some mums breastfeed, and it doesn't matter how long you breastfeed for, I think. We're going off on a tandem
Yeah,
of
breastfeeding.
We'll come back.
Typical
We'll
women.
come back to our festive
Yeah.
season, overindulgence
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so that's that's because we just I think it's a very important thing.
Very.
Especially in the festive season, like those mums are entitled to have their little drink. So, you know, they can just sort of express.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's up to them. They are in charge of their choice, isn't it, Lucy? As long as they make an informed
And they
choice.
have a lot of support. A lot of support
Yes.
from agencies such as yours. You were always stand by, because I remember you and your young mums loved you, Louisa. You know, because you were just
teenage mums.
they really loved you because you were also always very caring and ready to help and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I think they miss you terribly, you know, in that program, Louisa, but still, I guess it's just how it is. And I think people come and take over jobs. I know that, you know, once you leave a job, you always, I'm sure you keep tabs on what they're doing.
And all that breastfeeding and everything becomes, I mean, it has been, like when our kids are very specialised area, you know, because they've got lactation consultants, all that thing.
Gosh, yes.
More specialised.
And hospitals set up just for that.
I was just looking for the, because I've got the numbers here for the ring, you know, just in case I forget to mention it, like if they need to ring, have any problems.
Well, we've got
here
the
we
usual
go,
emergency numbers of
that's
000.
It's
It's
the helpline.
And the helpline. You give us the numbers, please, Louisa.
24 hours helpline is staffed by the professional work, you know, from our alcohol and drug program.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's 5124 9977. 02, of course, is the area code. Yeah.
And as you know, we are focusing on Canberra, but you know the national lines. You just dial 000 and they'll tell you.
Yes.
But this is what's that number again, Louisa?
512 49977.
There you go.
So 5124 9977. And they provide the information on alcohol and other drug and associated issues.
Yes.
So and that's a 24 hour and also 7 days a week.
There you go. Because you never know when you're going to need a helpline.
No, that's right.
And if for some reason you're somewhere you don't have that number handy, call 000. They would be really happy to give you a number of wherever you need to contact.
And they also advise them on assisting and managing people who may have alcohol and other drug issues as well. And support to people affected directly or indirectly by alcohol and drug use. So if you've got a friend, you know, who's having the trouble and you're there with them, so you can always call yourself and tell them.
Yes.
And also we've got the Beyond Blue, while I'm on that number, mental health.
Yes.
Mental health, just go hand in hand.
Mental health, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the overconsumption of alcohol and drugs will cause all sorts of things.
Yeah, that's right.
Not only physical but mentally.
Yeah, mentally.
So Beyond Blue's number?
Yeah, 1300 132. Excuse me, 1300 224636.
And they're a fabulous service.
So that's 1300 224636. And that's a 24 hours sort of service as well, Luciana. And it's 7 days a week as well for them.
Yes.
And who can use that service? Anybody.
Anybody.
A friend, family,
Yes.
yeah, anybody.
And we've had some very high-profile people that have come on and presented and talked about Beyond Blue, because we think, you know, sometimes, especially with mental illness and issues about mental health, sometimes we're a little bit embarrassed. But anyone can have a little time in their life when they need support. So, you know, don't ever worry about being embarrassed about needing support. Anyone, politicians, rich people, poor people, women, young people will at times need a little bit of support.
That's right. We do have those little vulnerable moments.
Yes. Oh,
Especially
yes.
after a few little glasses of wine.
Yes.
When that wears out,
Nothing else is
yeah,
there. You've got
down.
yourself. You've got yourself. You've only got yourself. So sometimes we do, because they talk about alcohol numbing the senses, and it's a little bit of an escapism, but that's only for a few hours.
That's right.
And then when you wake up out of your
it
alcohol
becomes a
stupor,
depressant. Yeah.
what happens? You're still there looking at yourself. So there are these numbers that Louise has got for you.
And at the end of the day, it's about for emergencies.
Yes.
It's 000.
000.
Yeah. 000 in Australia.
Yes.
That's right.
That's our national emergency number.
number. Yeah.
And they will, as I said before, they will put you on to other services, you know, if you need.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're pretty good.
Yes.
And of course, like other times, it's just the health directorate, the old health directorate, and they give you the informations like on services and other things as well. So,
you know, Louisa, when you're talking about alcohol, Canberra Hospital, their busiest time of year is coming up, and there was a little thing that was sent out, and they are well staffed because of alcohol poisoning.
is that a new name for it?
The what?
Alcohol poisoning?
That alcohol poisoning has been there forever because people overindulge. The blood, alcohol poisons
the blood, yeah.
So they
Blood
rush them
alcohol,
in, young people, and you know, Louisa, to the point of a lot of people died in the last whatever from alcohol poisoning. Now we think, oh, we just overdrink. It can lead to serious, as Louisa said before, serious incident of liver damage and what are the other things you were talking about with
cancer, and then heart, stroke.
That's stroke. Stroke can, can kill you.
It's just those main.
So yes, and they were saying that the hospital is fully staffed, but they're asking people to look out for other people, because if you're at a club or a pub or somewhere or an office party, someone passes out in the corner, make sure you check to see if they're all right, if they're breathing okay, you know, try and make sure that they're not suffering from alcohol poisoning, because it's really serious. Someone can get really sick and someone can die from that sort of stuff. So, you know, sometimes we think, oh, look at Lucy, she's there on the floor. Eh?
Don't walk drinking past.
Again.
Yeah, don't
Please
just walk
do not
past.
walk past Lucy. Bend down and try and see if she'll wake up, or if she's mumbling away or severely confused or throwing up or some of that nasty stuff. There could be something seriously wrong, you know, with that person. Don't walk away from them. And also too, Louisa, when you're out in the pub, the safety issues, you know.
And I think those barmen and the barmaids are pretty switched on, because they'll watch you, and then the next thing's when you start showing signs or symptoms of, you know, overindulgence.
They're supposed to stop serving you.
Otherwise they'll be responsible as well.
Yes. Well, I know that there was a bar and someone, you know, when we keep thinking it's got to stop, you know, someone, do not put your drink down. If you're out, do not put your drink down. Because you don't know, there's some nasty, nasty human out there who may spike your drink. Drink spiking is another big issue.
That's a big issue.
Yes.
And that's why it's always good to take your friends with you, because they look after each other.
You. But also that not all your friends are drunk to the eyeballs and not looking out for each other. Make sure there's someone.
Yeah.
I know that my granddaughter says when they go out, there's always one that's not drinking.
Yeah, they always pick one to drive, right?
Yes.
But I think they start there at the beginning.
Yes.
Because so that they make sure that she doesn't or he doesn't.
Yes, yes,
sort of
and
have a
they
little drink.
negotiate who's going to drive.
Yeah.
That person is also the one that's looking out for the rest of the group, you know, or saying, oh, I think Lucy's had a few too many. I'll put her in the car or I'll run her home and then I'll come back. I think young people are quite aware, a lot more aware than what we were at our age, Louisa.
And if they're in a group, because
Yes.
they do say. But while we are on that topic, Luciane, I thought I might just remind them, like on the short-term impacts of alcohol on your health. Like we're saying, this is specifically looking at the festive season.
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just sort of, and it's like drinking alcohol less often and remaining within the Australian alcohol guidelines. So if you keep that, it reduces your risk of injury
Yes.
and other short-term harms.
And you know, when Louisa was just talking about reducing risk, we're talking about, you know, risk, personal harm to you, your personal safety. Getting into a vehicle with someone who's been drinking, do not do that, please. Please. It's better that you walk or Uber or taxi. I know that around the festive season, it's really hard to catch a taxi. But Uber now, even the Ubers are saying that they've got a lot more drivers that are ready for the Christmas break, because they know that taxis are super busy. I know I used to have to drive in to pick up my kids during that time, Louisa, because I'd rather drive in, get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, drive into town and pick them up than to think that they're going to be getting into a car, or they can't get a taxi and they get into a car.
Because you're usually awake anyway. I don't go to sleep till the kids sort of come home. It's like I'm looking at the time. Where on earth are they?
Now my kids have got their kids to look out for, you know, and do all the things that, and I know that they do the things that I used to do. They don't sleep unless they, you know, if they know that they have to.
They become
us. They are parenting like we parented.
Exactly.
Like we parent.
That's right.
I remember you saying that continuously, Lisa.
We tend to parent the way we were parented.
Yes.
Yeah, it's keyboard. But it's also like, you know, intoxication sort of impairs your coordination. This is about like when it does hit them, and it slows your reflexes and can lead to accidents and injury.
Louisa, I was thinking, as you get older,
I'm already old. I'm not getting old.
And when you get older, it's, you know, for me, I notice that I'm not able to drink like I used to. You know, I can only have a couple, and that's enough for me. Because over that, and I'm going to bed or slurring. So I think age must change your ability to tolerate
your
alcohol.
Tolerance,
Yes. Is that right, Louisa?
That's right. And plus, you don't move around as fast.
As much. Maybe we need to dance a lot when we're drinking.
Well, that's it. That helps, Yeah, and it can result in hangovers and poor mood and increased anxieties.
Oh gosh, I don't need to make my mood any worse sometimes in the morning.
And alcohol also adds to your calorie intake. Making it more difficult. Making it more difficult.
Of course,
to sort of, you know, avoid the weight gain. Because you know how we
Are you looking at me, Louisa?
No. I'm looking at myself. And it's about stress and anxiety and mental health too. Because I looked at a lot of, just to update you, Stan, I remember you worked for the Headspace.
Yes.
When they first opened that Headspace. You were the original.
I was the original person there.
Here in Canberra.
Absolutely.
The national capital.
Yeah, it is. It was a happy, exciting time.
It was an exciting time.
Because it was brand new. 56 or 50 whatever $1 million that the government says, rightio, we're going to set up this service for young people in mental health.
And it was that guy who was the Australian of the
Magori.
year.
Yes, Professor Magori.
That's right.
And he's actually from Black Dog. Yes, Black Dog Institute in Melbourne. So he was, of course, on hand, and he's a big deal, you know, with youth and mental health and all that sort of stuff. But it was exciting, and we set up at Canberra Uni.
Well, I was just going to remind you that, Lucy, that's my old school Canberra, Canberra Uni, and that's where they set up. It was a good, yeah, it was really good.
We had rooms there in the psychology department of psychology, And it was being a project manager and advisor and a worker there. It was so exciting because you know, Louisa, and you know that because you started services, and it is sometimes you're just wondering. It's all a guessing game. But at the end of the day, you know who your clients are going to be, so you're going to try and make sure that everything's in place for them to feel comfortable, and when they come into the service, that they're going to be okay. So Headspace is a youth mental health program for 12 to 25 years, and they've got over 100 centres now in Australia.
It started.
Yeah, absolutely.
It started
here in Canada.
Yeah.
Where all
From
good
you,
things start.
Yeah.
But now it's well run serves and still well functioning well.
It's a good program.
Yes.
And remember that alcohol is a depressant, like you mentioned that before, associated with the mental health, like just what we were talking about, and the conditions such as depression and anxiety, when all that happiness sort of gone, and then you get to a low.
There's a little bit of a downer.
Yeah,
it's like you're on a downhill, you know, wondering where you're going to be, but it is a sad place to be. And there are so many services there to help. You know, all you need to do is find out and ring Google, ring 000, ring all the services that Louisa has brought up to us. Ring any of them, and they'll be happy to tell you.
And also I was thinking, this is one thing that I sort of was impressed with. The drinking alcohol increases the production of cortisol. And I thought, I haven't come across that. But you would have had that at the mental health, which affects our ability to deal effectively with stress. And that's the stress hormone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, Louisa, with our training as counsellors, you know, and sometimes we'd want to work with whoever clients came, but there was a thing that we needed to know. Someone had to be lucid to be able to cope with whatever counselling that happened. If a person came and he'd been under, you know, the effects of alcohol or drugs, we were told that we weren't to work with them. We were to send them home, tell them to come back when they were okay. Because, as you said, alcohol or drugs affects the way the brain works.
That's it.
So how are you going to help someone if they can't take in the information that you're going to give them? That's a really important point there, Louisa. Yes.
That's right, Because I thought, and also they do give you like how to manage that when that stress hormone sort of, you know, comes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it just makes everything just go.
And I think
and it also, that's not the street, but depresses the central nervous system, slowing down our poor brain function.
Yes. You can't think, you know, you can't do all the normal things that you do. It slows all of that down. Like I'm already slow. Imagine if I overindulge with alcohol. I'll be slow thinking, walking, talking.
I'm slow now.
So, you know, we're making light of this, but it's just we're sharing our experience and also the bit of
it's
information
our life
that
story
we
for
have.
the last sort of
absolutely.
40, 50 years.
40, 50 years, that's right.
And some of them we go through, because remember I said, it's always about sleep, our favorite topic. And drinking less alcohol can improve the quality of our sleep.
Yes.
Because it lowers that cortisol
that
we were just talking about.
Yes.
And drinking alcohol, even in small amounts, disrupts our body capacity to enter in. Remember we talk about going with the light sleep, do the good quality sleep.
Yes.
Because you need that quality sleep for
your body to replenish.
That's right. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
So we remember that. Isn't that good
and
to our memory?
you know, every time I don't have a good sleep, I think about what you talk about, Sue, and I think, oh gosh, you know, I'm not replenishing my body at the moment, and you know, with all that, because I do various things to sleep well. If I wake up in the middle of the night, there's, you know, a couple of things that I try and do, but sometimes, you know, it's terrible. But I will come out and put the TV on, which is a bad thing to do. Don't do that, because it'll open, you know, you start to take notice and you start to stay awake.
And then that blue light doesn't help.
It's really bad. So
So
Don't
that's
do
about
that.
the sleep. And also, like, it says if you wake up in the night after drinking, it's because alcohol increases the production of another stress hormone,
Which
yeah,
is,
epinephrine.
it's a big word.
That's a big word, yeah,
Yes.
but it's a stress
It's
hormone.
one of the stress
Luciana, yeah.
hormones.
We'll let the doctors talk about
Yes.
all those medical terms.
But it's good to know. Isn't it good to know what all the bad things that alcohol does? If you
All those
overindulge,
hormones, all those
if you
hormones,
overindulge, you know, there's all these nasty hormones that we don't want to appear.
Yeah, because this one sort of increases your heart rate and it stimulates your body. Yeah. And then one other thing that disturbs your sleep, alcohol is also a diuretic.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
We all know that. All humans know that it is a diuretic, and we know that, you know, you pop off to go all the time, and the more you drink, the more that happens. So all these things that Louisa is talking about are all for us to know, and most of us know this, Louisa. It's just a reminder. We're just reminding you today, just like you remind me to sleep properly and to look at my exercise and diet program. It's just a gentle reminder that if we want to be healthy and to, you know, get through the holiday season well
and stay safe.
It's
safe. About it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And talk to your young people and your children and your grandchildren. It's always all right to remind them a little bit, you know, because we grow up and we think, oh, I remember my mum saying that. Even though we pretended not to listen, but we'll say, I remember my mum saying that.
And they go through it when they become parents themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're coming to the end of our program,
Yes,
Lisa. See how time flies when we have fun?
Yeah. But I think we've touched most of the things to do with the
really
and you did say about making sure you have a meal.
Yes.
You eat something.
Yes.
Sometimes, like if you're just nibbling, some people, like, it depends where you are, you're still eating while you're drinking.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's good. It just lessens the effect of
lessens the effect of alcohol in your
alcohol.
blood.
And one thing they're saying about with the festive season, it's good to plan a little activity that doesn't involve alcohol in it, and it's about making sure that the kids can relate to all these activities without alcohol.
Yes.
Meaning that they don't really need
Not
alcohol.
every function.
Yeah, to have a happy family gathering.
Yes, Louisa.
And getting together. Yeah.
Yes, Louisa. That is so important, you know. Not everything that we do in life or gathering, especially family gatherings, need to have alcohol in it. We can be happy. We do that in our little family. We have little gatherings that we just say, right, we just have this and not have that. And the kids get used to it.
Yes.
You know, the kids know that not every time we go to a barbecue at Nana's, everyone's going to get drunk. You know, they know that, you know, most of the time they go there and there's fun and you play with the children.
It's about quality
really
time without alcohol.
That's a really good point, Louisa.
Because like what we were saying together before, Luciana, now if you have that little overindulgence in alcohol and then you're trying to do a family activity, the speech gets a little bit slurred, and then we're a little bit slower with the activities and things. And
kids are so switched on. The kids know that when you're a little bit different, you know. My grandchildren come in and they can tell when I've had a haircut, they can tell when I haven't done anything, if something's on my face. So your grandchildren and your children know exactly if something's a little bit different with you. And make sure that they take notice of good things and not the bad things like, oh no, Nana's drunk again. It's not a very nice memory for your grandchildren to have with you.
I don't think, you know, like you're saying, I think you get the stage like, I think with me it helped being the eldest of 11 kids in the family. You can't relax because you feel that you have to look out for the younger ones. And I've never been able to sort of have the experience of just getting drunk. I remember my other siblings used to say, why don't you get drunk so we'll see? Meaning
what you're
like, really, instead of, but I've never been able, it's about, I think, as you mentioned, Luciana, it's about when, you know, when you were growing up, what's
Yeah.
surrounding, and you wouldn't have had any drinks in your place. The
No, we were
Seventh-day
Seventh-day
Adventist,
The only
yeah.
drinks, we didn't even have coffee and tea, Louisa. We had our own Seventh-day Adventist coffee, made out of things that didn't have the stuff in it that is in coffee, nicotine and all that sort of stuff. But we were happy with what we had because that's what we grew up with.
But then you never missed it. You
No,
never had it.
Never had it.
That's right, and you
Never.
were happy without it.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that's...
It was coming out of the fold of that family that I grew up with, and then, you know, entering another time in my life, and then, you know, having a few drinks now and again and eating foods. But it was always with the idea that I'm not really used to having this, you know. But I do enjoy a drink now and again, Louisa, as you know. But as you said,
like our little
yes, today it's just about reminding us with the season coming.
It's about, excuse me, celebration, because it's our last. And I think was there anything else, Luciana, you can remember? And I think they always remind you that you are in charge of your decisions, you know, in the festive season. And don't be under a lot of pressure.
Yes.
And like we're saying with the young ones, they know that they have to go in a little group, and then they have to, you know, pick out who's going to be responsible for the driving, and
always do that.
And that person will be responsible for the rest of the group.
And when you go out the next time, you know, that person can have a break and have a good time while someone else takes over. And I think, as I said, a lot of young people are doing that. They're very responsible, and I'm so glad that, you know, with all the information that goes out there, and services are there. Services are there all through the season, the festive season. Emergency services, they don't have a rest. They're there to look after us. So we're really lucky in this country and other countries too, that emergency services don't take a break. They're there 24 hours a day, and some of those numbers that Louisa gave you to help and assist us. So all we have to do is try and look after ourselves a little bit better. Look after other people a little bit better. Be aware of other people around you.
That's very important too, Luciane. Looking out for everybody else around you. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's most important, especially at a time like this. But today they're lifting the restrictions in New South Wales.
They are.
Yeah. So
and you know, I was thinking, Louisa, they were saying this morning, not only do we have to be aware of alcohol and whatever other drugs consumption, but we have to be aware that COVID is still around us. Be careful when you're going to office parties, sharing food, kissing people. You know, you don't have to kiss people, just do the arm thing or whatever it is that you do. You know, stop cuddling each other, or if you wear a mask, smile. But
they were saying no mask, but I said it's up to us anyway.
It's up to you,
the individual.
And if you're going somewhere where you're going to drink and eat, do so. But as they said, be aware of sharing food platters. You know, that people have been touching and putting down food, and you know, some people who are, you know, drinking alcohol will forget, they'll try to say, and throw it down.
Yeah.
Just be very, very careful.
That's right.
Please be careful, Louisa.
And that's right. I was thinking before we close, Luciane, I think I was thinking like Special Thoughts or somebody.
Yes,
Who
absolutely.
was very much part of our
lo'au. Yes, absolutely. Yes. He was our Vice Chancellor. And we miss him
has been
dearly.
My friend for over 50 years.
Oh my goodness, that's a long
from
time
school,
friendship.
Yeah.
Well, that sort of friendship, you know each other really well.
And he's been my mentor. A lot of my programs that I've set up here in Canberra, he's always been there when I've rung, you know.
Yes.
The wife, etc., to get the prof and he's always helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember in our Women in Dialogue radio program, I remember you ringing him to come through and talk to us on our program. And he is, you know, Professor Sitaleki Finau has always and was always there to help, as Louisa said.
Yeah.
Your
It's
friend
always
of
been,
50 odd years. That's a long friendship.
yeah.
Yes.
We've had our little fights, but most of the time,
Little
we
tickles.
growing up, and I think Seta has been there to help. Like,
and being
whenever
with
I
Tonga
need
High
it,
School,
yeah, support,
student and ex-student.
support with a lot of these projects in
Yes.
Canberra.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's always been there, like advising, and a lot of times it's a bit, you know how hard I am to be advised. My husband will tell you that, but yeah, special thoughts go out to Aotearoa.
With our love and our
To the
love
family.
yes, to Eseta and the children, grandchildren, and to our most adored Professor Sitaleki Finau. We love you and miss you. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
We remember that cheeky smile.
Look at that smile. He's there with us, Louisa, on the side there.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you, Prof.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. He has got that cheekiness
He's got that
about
cheeky
him.
smile.
And, a lot of people all over the world are sending in accolades of love and messages of love. And we are too. And because it's our last program, Louisa, on this festive season.
Oh, Merry Christmas,
You better
everyone.
say Merry Christmas to our
Merry
watchers.
Christmas. Merry Christmas. How do you say it in Hawaii? Meli Kilikimaka or something.
Oh. Good on you, Louisa. I remember.
My nephew always says that Meli Kilikimaka or something. But Merry Christmas, everybody, and stay safe. God bless.
And thank you so much for following us and watching us during the year. And we hope you have a very safe Christmas with your family. Look after each other. Look out for each other. Louisa and I are going to be back with a bang next year, and with lots and lots of stories to tell you. And we have absolutely enjoyed being with you this year, and look forward to next year.
Yes.
So Merry
and keep
Christmas.
those constructive feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
Even
do.
bad ones, we need that.
And we're going into Tom and program for this program will happen in the new year. So there you go. And the new year is only a couple of weeks away. But awful out to get more.
Yeah.
Lots of love to you.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.